Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLuxGiven, and today we are going to be taking a look at a game of Storybook Brawl where I put together a comp that I would say is a little bit abnormal, and it's probably the title of this video already, Apoc Ball. Apocalypse plus Crystal Ball. Not typically a combination that you think about. But, you know, you play enough games of Storybook Brawl, you get to see some wacky things present themselves. And we're off to a pretty strong start here to start off this game, picking up a triple of Rainbow Unicorn, a tier 2 treasure on 2.2 as Apocalypse can always be pretty good, and the fact that we are just playing 2/7s on the 2/7s on the second turn of the game makes us pretty powerful. But obviously with Apocalypse, you can't take it with you. Any stats, any scaling that you get during the earlier portions of this game don't go into the later portions. And Dark Contract, to that extent, I think is a very good treasure with Apocalypse. I am considering some of the other treasures, but Ring of Meteors and Monster Manual definitely speak more to scaling comps than they do to it's called Dark Contract, right? Which is basically the opposite. It just says, here's some stats for this turn, here's some tempo, you can't take it with you. That kind of treasure definitely makes sense on Apocalypse, but Crystal Ball is the total opposite. It is scaling. It's the opposite, right? It's here's some stats that are going to make you strong in the late game. And this turn also presents some really interesting options because we could go for a Brave Princess, which I think is pretty tough to pass up on 3.0. And from there, I'm going to wind up picking up a Water Wraith and then locking onto a second Water Wraith. So building onto two potential tier 3 treasures, that's how we're going to get the Crystal Ball. And normally I would say that Crystal Ball is kind of bad on Apocalypse, but one of the things that you have to consider with this game is it's a game of Storybook Brawl 99. Haven't brought that up too much just yet, but in Storybook Brawl 99, Crystal Ball is really, really good. They should just call it Storybook Ball 99. I'm not sure. It's not there yet. Let's workshop that joke a little bit. But we are going to wind up wanting to play Crystal Ball a little bit more than you would in your average game of Storybook Brawl, because that is how you are actually going to win these lobbies. Sure, you can put together some good Apoc comps, find some trees, get pretty lucky. However, the way that you wind up getting even farther typically revolves around some tier 7 treasures, which could mean like hoping to get Pandora's box off your Hercules if you don't get super lucky with something like Noble Steed or Treasure Map before you hit level 6. And can also just mean that people will outscale you if you just put together a bunch of trees. Now, sometimes a bunch of trees can be good enough, but not always. And that is really what is going to push me to just consider, to just think about picking up a Crystal Ball. And the way that it all comes together is definitely pretty interesting here. We end up stealing a Wizard's Familiar from our opponent, so yeah, I guess you could say that's another thing to push you in that magey direction. And I go for another Kidnap here. I believe that other Wizard's Familiar was off of a Kidnap, but I go for another Wizard's Familiar with the idea, or I'm sorry, I go for another Kidnap against Gwen, because I figure, hey, maybe we'll steal an upgraded unit from Gwen. You can notice that we are still on 45 health as Apocalypse, so that is always pretty good, and we're going to end up stealing a Creeper. Not the best unit, but it does build towards another tier 3 treasure. And then we're also going to get a tier 3 treasure off Brave Princess, win the combat, kill both of my opponent's prize pigs. We're set up pretty well at this point in the game. Now, when you have the opportunity like this one to immediately pick up another tier 3 treasure, Crystal Ball also starts to look a lot more tempting in that case. And then after that, I will wind up picking up Treasure Map. We will now probably try to pick up some tier 4 stuff. I'm also very interested in picking up some I'm not sure. I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, XP. That's what I was going to say. XP, because I'm Apocalypse. Don't really find XP, and Staff of the Old Toad, just kind of a weird one at this stage of the game. We could certainly go for it, but I think the Dracula's Saber, like when you're playing Apocalypse, you just want tempo in the early stage of the game, and this is still kind of early, though the Dracula's Saber, I think, frees us up is kind of the idea. But picking up the Dracula's Saber, we're just going to have so much more leeway to then pick up XP with our remaining gold on each of our turns. And the Dark Contract has definitely helped get us to this point in the game and just continue to be strong throughout. So definitely shout outs to that. We are going to wind up taking our first loss here, 7 damage from a Wonder Waddle, but not too bad, all things considered. And if we get a little bit stronger, which could just be picking up 1 or 2 evil units each turn, like, we're totally fine. We do still want to consider like just rolling and trying to find XP, so that's what I'm going to do a lot of here as well. I do consider some Spellweavers again because it's a pair and a pair of evil units. I think that there's potentially even a universe where, like, you don't want to pick up a pair immediately, you want to pick up one now, one later, because in this situation we actually have too many units. I guess we can cut the Creeper, at which point we don't have too many units, but it does become a little bit awkward because we're very strong this turn, right? But we're not going to be super strong next turn because Kitty Cutpurse is going to turn back into a 1/1, and then the Spellweavers are also going to turn back into 1/3s. It's just kind of making me think, should, like, Dark Contract have any type of flavor being around, like, the Pumpkin Carriage for those temporary one-turn buffs and transformations? Could be kind of a silly flavor thing there. Celestial Tiger with an Excalibur, we're going to be almost taking them out and moving on to 4.2 here, but feeling okay. Like I said, we're going to go, like, back and forth because now all of a sudden we don't have a board. We need to find some more units. We will get to pick up a Wizard's Familiar, and from there we pick up a great library card, which is definitely going to help us in terms of finding XP, and is also kind of what pushes me down this Crystal Ball route, because I'm thinking, well, we've got the Crystal Ball, we've got a great library card, we can make this work. We can make this work and try to actually just pick up some mage-related things going on here. I'm going to pick up another Spellweaver. We no longer have the Dark Contract, but it will still give us a much bigger unit to just pick that up right now, and then I'll wind up rolling. I sell off the Golden Chicken and the end my Kitty Cutpurse, so that way we level up. And I do really want to cast a spell this turn. I'm even going to cast one more spell because I felt like the Darkwood Creeper wasn't really doing that much for us and was worth just selling off. So a little bit bold. We'll see if it pays off or not, and it looks like it actually will, so nice play there. Now I'm just going to use all of my gold to roll for XP and to lock onto it for the following turn. So that's kind of the plan, and when I say all of my gold, I do want to spend some gold getting stronger this turn, then I immediately find the XP. So we're done. But there's an interesting maneuver here, and that maneuver is Aeon plus Apoc. We are going to wind up picking up the Polywoggle and then the Earthquake just to round out this turn. But basically, what I can do next turn is sell off everything, except for one thing. We'll keep the pigs. Then we V-end the pigs. That'll make us level 6, and we'll get all of those Apoc stuff, which is pretty good. To be Apoc at 40, getting all of that stuff. But then what we can do, if we want to, is buy the Aeon then. And this is really the inventive part of this strategy. It's very silly to get both the XP spell and the Aeon in your final 5.2 Apoc shop and have the Crystal Ball. So it was too much of a blend of circumstances to not at least try this strategy out. And it's very silly. We've been playing a bunch of scaling units up until this point as Apoc, but hopefully we can now just abandon these scaling units and try to scale some other units. That's kind of the plan here. Gonna sell off the whole battlefield and our bench and the end these pigs. Now we're going to have a bunch of new units, including a trees comp, but I'll pick up the Aeon nonetheless just to try to make that work. We're not really going to be playing Good Boy, but we will be able to Green Knight a Heartwood Elder, and then we have a bunch of other stuff going on. So what we really want to do here is cast a bunch of spells this turn, make it so that Aeon will slay for sure, and then at that point it should be really easy to keep Aeon slaying in future turns. So I'm going to pick up another Aeon, and then I think what I'm going to do, if I remember correctly, is just sell off the Good Boy and pick up the Smite. Or I guess I could do it with the Oni King instead. Okay, I wind up rolling nonetheless, and then go for a Masquerade Ball. It's about the same. The point is casting any spell gives both of my Aeons +2 attack, because they'll pump themselves and each other, and that gives me a little bit more of an opportunity to slay. So we are going to slay twice this turn, so now we've got Hat Ball. And we are Hat Ball Apoc up 2 XP on the rest of the lobby. Feeling a little bit strong, though it's a little bit awkward, of course, that all of the mages that we have invested so much into throughout the other course of the game are now doing nothing for us. So kind of weird, but we could just go into trees and kind of use the Hat Ball to help fuel the trees. It's not the craziest idea. I think my main mistake in this game is trying to have it both ways, trying to play both the trees and the mage's side of things. Like here, I am locking for the Baba Yaga because I just spent 10 gold to upgrade this Ashwood Elm. And it's good that I did that. And part of the idea here, I think, is that I'll pick up the Baba Yaga, use that to get cheaper spells, and then maybe we can Evil Twin this Ashwood Elm a few times. So that's kind of the idea here, and maybe we can turn this into something. Still feeling pretty good as a 30 health Apoc. But definitely a little bit weird, and some of the other competitors, because that's the thing about Storybook Brawl 99, you can never just assume that you're winning winning a lobby, and you can see like this opponent, where the heck does this person come from? And they just have like so many upgraded trees and all of this other crazy stuff too. So a little bit awkward that one of our opponents is just like doing it better than us. They don't have the Hat Ball shenanigans going on, but they got a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're going to take 9 damage here. We will have slightly cheaper spells this turn, so that aspect of it all is good. And if we can continue to slay, then we can continue to do some powerful things. I'm going to wind up just casting a, what is that, Gigantify or Hugify? I think that one's Gigantify. Give our first Aeon a little bit more stats, and then I will go for a Merlin's Test. And then question is, do you want to lock on to Knighthood? Is that good? I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's jump ahead into the combat and see what goes down in this fight. I think that was a pretty good Pigomorph. It looked like a Good Boy comp or something. It's going to be taking out their Sporko. Okay, well that's pretty reasonable. They take out our Baba Yaga. We do get our first and almost get our second slay. We are just short though, not going to be able to get the second one. So our spells only cost 1 less this turn. It's not incredible. We are still going to have enough stats to win the fight, but yeah, a little bit awkward that our spells are not really popping off here to the highest extent. Should probably take this Cindy. Okay, looks like we do. I didn't actually remember taking this Cindy. I thought that I didn't. Okay. Oh, okay. I go back and forth on a lot of it, and then I wind up casting some more spells, picking up another Aeon. Tier 5 treasure, none of these are really going to speak out to me, but because there's no mage related treasures. And then we'll roll a little bit more, see a Scion of the Storm, and we will complete the Cindy. This allows us to pick up another mage related treasure, and then we can sell off 2 of our units here to pick up Scion of the Storm. And this is also like a really tough decision point in the game. Is do you want to spend 6 gold picking up Scion of the Storm? And really, I'm not super sure. I don't know what the best play is in this scenario, and that's why I said I feel like my downfall in this game is oscillating so much between the trees and the mages and not really picking one. It was definitely fun, and I think that this was a video worth showing off just because, one, Storybook Brawl 99 is fun, and also I thought it was a really cool play. Oh, looks like we lost my camera here because I probably moved a wire with my foot, but I thought it was a really cool play to lock onto the Aeon on the turn where you go off with Apocalypse. I thought that that was really cool. Now we're at a point where, like, do I even want to spend time picking up Spellweavers? Because that's 3 gold, and I could just be using all of my gold to roll while I cast spells. So definitely a tricky game. Do I want to be spending my gold on Ashwood Elms? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And I think really the answer is probably that I should be picking up the trees and I should not be picking up the other things, but we go for it, we roll for it, and just wind up picking up the Scion of the Storm and the Ashwood Elm regardless here. We are into the top 25 of this lobby and we're still slaying, so that is pretty good. We do see that we're starting to see a higher caliber of opponents in these lobbies though. Court Wizard plus Radiant Prism and Magic Sword plus 100. Yeah, things are getting a little bit tougher over here. So these opponents are tough to beat, and I do feel like, you know, there's an interesting play here to just use the Crystal Ball fuel to make more trees. So that's basically what I just go for. Doesn't wind up being anything super powerful. We definitely can't pick up this Scion of the Storm, but the upgraded Burning Tree, I think, actually is something pretty interesting here. And then we go ahead and lock onto the Evil Twin, which is basically the play that I've been talking about the whole time. Now, what we don't get here is we don't have any type of double cast on this Evil Twin. No Wand of Weirding, no... what else could we have? Forking Rod and an even cheaper Evil Twin or anything like that. It is just going to be a 4-cost Evil Twin. Maybe when we cast it, we'll be casting this on Ashwood Elm, and that'll give us another upgraded Ashwood Elm. If we find a Wand of Weirding, I'm sure I would pick that up as well. So that gives us some interesting outs for the future in terms of just making more trees. However, we see that some of our opponents are just casting more spells than us. And that's, like I said, what is just going to be happening in Storybook Brawl 99. You're going to be playing up against players that really put it all together. And unfortunately, that is going to be one too many lost combats. And we are going to take a 16th place here to round out this game. Let me find the ending screen if I can. It went by really quickly because I wanted to hop back into the queue. And we will have more sweet Storybook Brawl 99 action coming at you tomorrow, but that is going to be it for me today. Definitely a silly game that, you know, it's something that I wanted to try, say that I did it. Apoc Ball. It wasn't the best in the world, but you know what? I think I would try this again in that very rare circumstance where the Aeon is in the shop on the turn where you cast that Apoc turning XP spell. That is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace. Here's the details for my giveaway this week. Just leave a comment on any of my videos that includes the word spell. New week, new code word, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace.